Sorry, it'll take a second because here we go. Let me just cancel the transcribe. Right. So when we look at the problem, it has to advance knowledge. Now, at an honors level, you will create very basic knowledge, but that's part of the research journey and going through higher. At a PhD, you're expected to create new theory. And then relevance, it is something that we need right now. If we leave it alone, what would be the consequences? So if that organization that was kept getting hacked left it alone, it's clients' information, it's confidential information that gets leaked into the internet. So there's a lot of those reasons why that is valid. So your problem statement will always be very clear, and you will see that if you are to write a problem statement in a quantitative bit of research, in positivism, it would sound very, very mechanistic. It would sound very much focused around stats and numbers and concerns. So part of your problem statement is always to put in a bit of evidence. And when you do it in terms of specifically in positivism, you would need to put in those stats and you would need to put in those numbers that are the cause of concern. So I think I don't like this because this is not really accurate. They say it should be in one or more grammatically complete sentences. The expectation on honors level is higher, but it's something that you could write. The key issue is that morale in the organization is causing low levels of productivity. And then I think your research problem becomes your research purpose. So in order to write a proper research purpose, the thing that you intend to achieve, you need to have a very clear idea in your head what the deficiency is, what the gap is. So there is a problem statement. I'm not going to worry about that. And you can see it is very specific. You know, it is a real issue because if people don't live up to those images that they aspire to, it has serious psychological consequences. And then you can see how that becomes your purpose. Okay. Very, very clear purpose. And then obviously you will see the difference in the language. The first one, the purpose statement, is very much focused around numbers and stats. However, here it is about the perceptions from the perspective of the teenage girl. That makes sense. So very, very focused on numbers and stats. Yeah. So the second one, this one conversely, qualitative study. So we know it's interpretivism, and it's that to gain an understanding of why people look at these magazines and why they develop a poor self-image. Here we can see it talks about correlation. So we know that we'll have an independent and a dependent variable immediately. If we were to do a critical realist study, we would have both of those with the intention of helping these girls. Okay, so you will have problems. So you can see here, there are the problems, and you can see that they've expanded on that problem. The clarifying the problem happens there. And then, yeah, from there, we'll get our research questions. So for me, the problem is the be-all and end-all of the research. If you don't have a clearly written problem, if you don't have a clear definition of what the deficiency or the gap is in your own mind, there is no chance that you'll ever be able to do research. So we spend a lot of time with the students on writing a problem statement. I have a very specific way of doing it, but I'm not going to cover it here because that's for the honors. Any questions at this stage?
I know I'm good for now.
I think you should be fine. It's the deficiency. The important thing to remember is that you will use that
The
slide.
slides.
So learning unit 2, 14, 15, 16, 17, and yeah, I would also look at 18 and 19. Okay.
Okay.
You should be absolutely fine like that. You should be fine like that. That sorts out your first question. That sorts out your first question. That is that question. And as I said, don't get carried away by trying to do additional research. Simply just plug things in a way that you can study it and then write on it in the exam. This question is definitely there because if we look at that, it is 40 marks, and that's the only 40-mark question. So here, you need to get 40 out of 40.
Okay, what's the
Okay.
possible?
Sorry, it's 50%. It's 50%. It's 50%. I'm not being concerned about that. You're going to pass. It's just to get time to rehearse this information into your mind, to get your answers worked out and rehearsed into your mind. Right. So let's look at what makes a useful theory. So we're looking at Littlejohn and Foss, the criteria of a useful theory. So again, we're going to, I think it's learning unit 1. I can't even remember. Evaluating theories. So here we are. Hold on. Okay, so the slide isn't great. Just hold on a second. What is going on here? I just want to see where the original theory is. No, I don't know where that is. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, it's here. This is the stuff that we're looking at. I'm a little bit frustrated at that because I didn't put in the authors. But here, this is what we use to evaluate theories. Okay, so there we go. So one of the best definitions that I've ever heard was given to my middle son when he was 6. He asked what a theory is, and his grade 1 teacher said to him, a theory is a good idea. And that has always stuck in my mind because a theory represents what the reality is. A theory suggests the reality. So if we look at a weak theory, such as our friend Maslow, you know, those 5 levels, we know that they're not perfect, but it still gives us an idea of the needs levels of something as complex as a human being. And we know that motivation theories have evolved over time. So when we look at whether a theory is useful, I think when you are with me when we do the lectures for the honors, you'll hear that I talk about a theoretical framework. The theoretical framework is where we incorporate existing theories to frame our research, our literature review, etc. So when we look at what is a useful theory, the first one, it is how well it explains a phenomenon. So Maslow, we can look at Maslow and how accurately does Maslow reflect the needs levels of people. I think over time it's been proven to be questionable, but there's still some value in Maslow, and there has to be because we see it in textbooks all the time. Just grabbing some bottled water here. Hold on a sec. So we see Maslow in most management, in most organizational, if not all organizational behavior textbooks. Right. So how clearly does it define the reality in the real world? Secondly, how appropriate is it in relation to your paradigm, your tradition, and the assumptions within that tradition? So if we're going to use Maslow, I would argue that it's less relevant in positivism because it's very difficult to meet. But interpretivism, it's very valuable because you could use Maslow, go and interview people around what they perceive their needs to be. So for
Okay.
me, Maslow is not ideal for positivism, but it's better suited to interpretivism. Give me an example of a theory that would work well in positivism,
Something, will that be something more scientific based?
something that's more scientific based.
Like,
Absolutely.
okay,
So
then evolution.
yeah, evolution, absolutely. You can definitely see evolution fit nicely into positivism. I mean, the theory of gravity, I mean, it's
Yeah.
as positive as you get. You're not
Okay,
really
that's
going
a
to use
formula.
it in
Yeah. At least,
interpretivism.
at least
Sorry, go ahead.
evolution. That's a formula. At least evolution. There's still a little
Yes.
bit of gray area.
Yeah, no, there is, but I think there's sufficient evidence of evolution. And maybe, if you were to use evolution, if you were to use Darwin's theory of evolution, and my students use it in their research because it talks about adapting to your environment, and businesses fit into the theory of evolution perfectly. You can use it from both a positivist and interpretivist perspective. But if you were going to talk to people about evolution and get their perceptions of evolution, there'll be some people that say there's no evolution, it's intelligent design, and that's very much interpretivism.
But you
So
say what evolution is like for gravity, E equals mc squared. That's set in
yeah,
stone. Yeah. But like with evolution,
absolutely.
is there any arguments against it? Was a null hypothesis done?
No, I mean, I would argue that most of Einstein's theories, including the ones around black holes, have been proven over and over. And I can't offhand remember, but one of Einstein's theories was recently proven as well to be accurate. So there's a way of measuring that. Absolutely, it's
Yeah,
difficult to not argue
for
about that.
evolution. No, I'm saying for evolution. The
Yeah.
evolution. Are the
Well,
arguments
evolution,
against?
there's evidence, but you can use it both positivist and negativist.
No, but is the
So
evidence like against it? That says maybe it's
no,
not
there's no
possible.
evidence against it. No, there's no
Because I remember
evidence.
what
But
one
if
people
you're
used
a
to say.
if you're a deeply religious person, if
No,
you're a
no, it's
Christian,
no, it's not
they
something
don't
that goes
believe in it.
against. It's for me like although like I believe in like higher power and whatnot, like I'm not against it. I'm not what it doesn't really make doesn't impact me anyway.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
it doesn't like it says it
absolutely.
doesn't matter. So I don't take offense to any of that. No, but what I was thinking because I remember
No,
like
neither do I.
religious people. I read a book by Hari Krishna guy.
Yeah,
So he said, how come all for me, like I don't know why they're so like attacking because I think it's still within the realm of possibility that evolution was real, even though I grew up, religious. Like what I say is he said that how come all the monkeys didn't evolve? But then he said that's nature, not everyone adapts. Darwin will argue.
but you see, he doesn't understand evolution. It's
Yeah.
about fitting in with your environment.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
Every monkey fits
Yeah.
in perfectly with its environment it finds itself in. It's not about evolving into humans. That is a
Yeah.
misunderstanding of evolution.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
somebody who shouldn't be writing books
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so
because it's about being
it's
fit for
specific monkeys
purpose.
from that, yeah. Because how he came up with theories, he saw birds on two different trees, and one had claws and the other one didn't, or something to get the berries or something like that.
Yeah, no, it depends on the environment.
Yeah,
Entities evolve to be fit for purpose. And fit for purpose means you fit for the environment that you're in. And it's not being the fittest, about being running faster. It is fit for purpose. You adjust to your
oh,
environment. That's what evolution is. If someone
that's so cool.
says, why aren't monkeys humans? They clearly don't understand evolution whatsoever. It's a book you shouldn't read. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah, I know.
straight.
Because this guy obviously he's blinded by his faith. Yeah, but what I was saying, yeah, I mean, I also one thing. Do you think it's possibility there were many different species that existed simultaneously with humans, like
Yeah.
Yetis and all the stuff that came before, and just so happened, or humans just came along a long time after?
Honestly, we've seen evolution in humans. In the 15th century, the size of a soldier, based on the armor that they found, was of a small 15-year-old. Okay.
Oh shit!
And now you look at the size of people. In
But
1911, the
yeah,
Springbok rugby team, in the entire 15 men that took the field, there was one person over 100 kgs, and it was one of
that's
the
almost
props.
the whole team.
In 2011, everyone but the scrum off and the fly off didn't go over 100 kgs.
Yeah, but
Actually,
what?
and Butch James was nearly at 100. I think he
But
might
you,
have
you
been
know
at
what
100.
people say? They'll say they'll blame other factors. They'll say no, diet is different,
But
or
that's
there's
what
improvement,
evolution
sports
is.
nutrition. So
But
you
that's
think
what you
so
fit for
it's not just
purpose.
it's just what biological. It's a lot of things around you as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. But it's being fit for purpose. To play rugby now, you look in a certain way. The guys
Yeah,
back in 1911 wouldn't make the G side of a school team.
yeah. Even like with cricket, I don't know if you are you familiar with cricket.
Yeah,
Do you know?
I know cricket very well.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard of Don Bradman.
Yeah, no, Don Bradman very well. A 99 point something
Average,
average.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he played so long ago when the fastest ball he ever faced was not even what a spin bowler bowls today. You know,
Yeah.
still not what a spin bowler.
Yeah.
So and if you look at the videos of him playing, it's like funny to that Australia in the Hall of Fame because he's Australian. They say put him above Sachin Tendulkar, but like to be fair, I could probably bowl him out if I played against him.
To be honest with you, for me, the greatest cricket ever is Jacques
Dark
Callis.
colors. For me,
Greatest
greatest
cricketer ever.
the greatest in chess, yeah, greatest all rounder.
Well,
Like chess,
greatest cricketer. I mean, batting average, bowling average, in the
yeah,
slips.
he's crazy.
You know,
Crazy. He could do
but
everything.
yeah, some people will say such, and
But
I
like Don
disagree.
Badman shouldn't even be in the conversation. It's
He
like
shouldn't
saying
be. Well, it's
it's
like
like
putting
saying
WG. It's like putting WG Grace into the conversation. You
yeah,
know,
and
it's not part of the conversation.
it's like even Pele. I mean, Maradona played 20 years after Pele. Like the game was a lot higher level. But saying
Yeah,
Pele is better than Messi and Ronaldo is crazy. For me, that's ludicrous.
it's a different world. I mean, Messi for me is the greatest soccer player ever.
Yeah, for me,
So
definitely the most talented.
yeah,
Definitely the ability.
no, I think there's definitely evolution. I mean, rugby players, even watching the 1995 World Cup, if you watch that when we won the World Cup, the
Yeah.
game has evolved and the guys have evolved.
If you look
It's as
even
simple
though
as that.
even if you look at simple stuff, you look at fashion,
Yeah,
clothes we wear, how that
yeah,
evolves like every few years. And then like
yeah,
I remember back when I first got skinny jeans, I thought they looked so cool. Now when I look at someone that wears skinny jeans, I'm like repulsed by them
yeah. I
because
think it's the
it's just like
evolution.
I
It's
know it
being
sounds
fit for purpose. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you just think like, but I never looked at it that way back then. And now you see like hair transplants. Who would think someone your own hair? It's not a wig. It's your own hair from the back and sides. Because men they lose hair on the top, but not the back and sides because of the hormone doesn't
yeah,
affect the hair on the back and side. So
yeah.
who thought? Let me take it from the back and sides and put the hair that was lost on the top. Then we'll take the medication to block the hormone that causes the hair loss, so you won't lose your native hair. And the transplant hair will never fall off because it's DHT resistant. But that thought
Fit for
process,
purpose.
yeah. So
Fit for
like
purpose.
so it depends how you define evolution, but like evolution is gradually takes place every day, I believe.
Yeah. No, it's not about monkeys becoming humans. That's
See,
absolutely not what evolution is.
because I
Yeah.
remember he was banned by the church, Charles Darwin.
Yeah. Well, he was a son of a preacher, remember? He was a preacher's son. So he did turn back to Christianity and almost said that he sees God's hand in evolution.
So for me, how it was, whether evolution exists or evolution doesn't exist, it doesn't change the fact that there's a higher power and there's God within every living entity. So for me, it doesn't. It
It
doesn't.
doesn't, it's not,
It doesn't
it,
make
for
it.
me, it's not something that is exclusive. I think it's inclusive. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
because
believe in a
like
higher
for me,
power. I believe in evolution.
so
That's
there's
it.
there's an interesting book. I'm not sure if you heard of Sashi Tahur.
No, I haven't.
So he writes a lot about ancient India. So there's a book called Why Am I Hindu? So he said, like, in Hinduism says there's no single rule or dogmatic belief. I could pray to Allah, pray to Jesus, pray to anyone. It wouldn't make me any less of a Hindu, because whichever way you try to connect to God, many parts, one truth. Like in
Yeah.
Hinduism, we have gods with a monkey head, we have
Yeah.
gods with an elephant head. You can be
Yeah.
atheist and be Hindu, because there's God in every living entity, not just every human being, but every living entity. We have gods that are dark skinned, gods that are light skinned, gods in many hands. But whatever you relate to, however you see God fit, that's what God is. We put whatever helps you connect.
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, but we've got to continue.
Okay.
Okay, so the other ways of evaluating theories is to compare one theory with another. So we've got to look at the theoretical scope. So how well does it explain a phenomenon? So again, in your evolution, how well does it explain the differences between similar species? And then appropriately, so essentially, how internally consistent is the theory? And it means that the different components that make up the theory logically combine to create this whole theory. And then external consistency is how does it compare with other theories? How does it compare in terms of the real world? Yeah.
Okay.
And then heuristic value, it really just does it allow us to discover new ideas? Does this theory allow us to test it and retest it in different contexts in order to build some sort of discussion around it? And then validity. Yeah, now we've got to be careful because validity is a positivist thing, but in this question, it's fine. How accurate is it? So for me, if you had a theory on parking, if you had to test a theory on parking, you can't write an exam on parking. You would give a person a vehicle and you'd say to the person, put your vehicle into that space. How valuable is it in a specific context? So positivism, H2O is H2O is H2O, whether it is in Russia, whether it is in America, whether it is in South Africa. However, when we look at from an interpretivist perspective, what we believe and value in water might be different to what they value in water in Russia and in America. And then, yeah, does it also link together? Can you create concepts that logically explain this theory? And then largely, this is always for quantitative positivism. Can we generalize our findings to a larger population? And that's why when we do positivist research, we involve significant numbers of people in order to create a theory that will apply in different contexts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we need there. Okay, so it's slides 53, 54, and what? Oh, sorry, and 55. Okay, and then essentially, how simple is this theory in explaining the realities of the world? Parsimony and openness, essentially, does it allow us to have other explanations? Your example of Darwinism is a wonderful one because I would read Darwin and see it in a particular way, but other people could interpret it differently. And that's what theories allow you to do. It brings it into your context. Yeah, so it's that those are the slides there, 53, 54, 55.
Okay.
Okay, nothing too dramatic there. Okay, and let's just see the next one. All of this we'll put together in the proper course, so we're not going to worry about, we're just going to get you to pass. That's all we care about.
Okay.
Okay, argues that determine to a large extent the process and outcome. It's therefore important to be clear. There's 6 different types of research aims. Okay. Yeah. Exploratory, descriptive, correlation. Okay. We'll look at those. So that is page 50. Oh, sorry. Let me find the slide. um, hmm, F A I. What am I doing? Let me just see what the question is. It's not that. Where did I see that now? Okay, so exploratory. Not the one I want though. Oh, come on. Why is that it? Come on, I definitely have that. Ah, shucks. Hmm. I know I have it and I can't find it. Sorry, man.
Oh, it's fine. You can send it to me on WhatsApp when you find it. The
Okay,
slide.
yeah, I've got it here. I've got it
Okay.
here. Type of research, exploratory, descriptive,
You said there were six
explanatory.
slides.
There it is. Yeah, so it's 36 and 37 page slide. So it's learning unit 2, slide 36 and 37. Have I got all of them there? I want to make it as easy as possible for you. Yeah, I think we'll use that slide, those 2 slides. Okay, so we did discuss a bit of this yesterday when we did the sort of basic types of research. So when we look at exploratory research, it's often pre-research. It's often used to actually create the actual research. So exploratory research often could be about new insights. So we've never viewed this issue in a particular way. So I always think of rugby and rugby injuries. Rugby injuries became a huge issue. And what they did is they started looking at what causes it. And that's why we have the significant law changes. You can also do it for key concepts to understand the key elements of your research problem. You could also do your key stakeholders. I think for me, it's the best way is the bottom one there. It's about discovering a bit about the unknown. It is about getting closer to doing research. It is about confirming assumptions. Okay. So generally, when we think of exploratory, it's more likely to link to positivism. Descriptive research is definitely going to be interpretivism. So mostly interpretivism, because it's about describing, understanding. It is, provide information, and I would imagine you can also use it in positivism. And then correlative research, 100% positivist, your independent, dependent variable, and the correlation between the two or the relationship. Explanatory. Here we want to explain why there is a relationship between different phenomena. And it's again cause and effect. So we will talk about that as positivist, drink alcohol, the effect, you can't drive. Predictive research, it is about making predictions about the future. And again, for me, it's more positivist. So we appoint people on the basis of the predictions that we get from their psychometric testing. And then pragmatic research, it is about looking at empowering. It's more critical realist approach, and the focus very much there. It's about trying to find solutions to the realities that people face in the environment. Okay, so that
Okay.
is question next. So that's the second of the 15 mark questions. Okay, boy, I'm going to stop now. I'm not feeling great, and my apologies.
And okay, no stress.
We'll
What time are we having a meeting tomorrow?
Yep, absolutely. Can we meet at six
Okay, we can
o'clock?
do the normal. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm working from home tomorrow, so I'm gonna sort out my laptop, phone, varsity college,
And
all
you
my
can start
tickets.
knocking out these answers. You can stop. You can
Yeah,
start knocking out these
I'm gonna
answers.
I'm gonna email everything to my laptop and go to the work because I'm working from home.
Okay.
Okay, and if there's any additional slides, please send them to me,
Now you've got
or
all
are
of
they
these